There's a total of 70 projects to improve the freight and passenger operation and reduce congestion in Chicago. That includes 25 grade separations, 6 what we call flyovers, and that's where you grade separate the railroads, and then a whole lot of other improvements to the system and the operation in Chicago, including computer and signal enhancements and improvements to viaducts and so forth. Okay, this is a map of the CREATE corridors and projects. And basically the CREATE program consists of 4 corridors. The Beltway corridor, which is the blue around the outside. The Western Avenue corridor, which is the western, that runs parallel with Western Avenue, basically down through the center of the city. And the East-West corridor, which is in red, that runs east-west through the city, and the yellow, which is the passenger corridor.
It's commonly known that there are a great many railroads and tracks running through Chicago, but the infrastructure in Chicago is I equate more to local roads in the city. You can get from one side of the town to the other, but it's a slow process, slow-moving trains, stopping and going as you make your way through. The CREATE program is going to create our corridors, and the CREATE program are going to create the equivalent of a highway or expressway. The growth in freight traffic that we expect to see over the next few years is going to allow us to run solid trains from the West Coast to the East Coast, and we need the infrastructure here in Chicago to handle that increased volume. One such service is our fresh produce train that we run from the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast with potatoes, apples, lettuce. We load those trains on the West Coast, and they come through Chicago, very time sensitive, to the markets in New York and on the East Coast.
This is currently, today, this is known as Inglewood, and this is a crossing, railroad crossing, where the Rock Island passenger trains, Metro Rock Island passenger trains, cross 4 tracks, which NS freight trains and Amtrak passenger trains will operate on. P1 is the CREATE project name for this location. What that project is going to do is it's a flyover, which will take the Rock Island tracks, which are the 2 tracks here, take the Rock Island tracks over the top of the NS/Amtrak tracks, eliminating the conflicts that they experience today.
This is the board that we took, and there was a row of levers that the operator actually pulled on to make these various switches throw. Once again, it's all done in Fort Worth now. So the benefits, or the thing that started with the WA5 project, was that we upgraded not only the signal system and the track, but also the layout, made it a lot more efficient. And from an efficiency standpoint, when we had an Amtrak coming on the CN at the north end of the courtyard, generally the switches that you'll see on this board, because it's so antiquated, they would be locked down probably 20-25 minutes prior to the train getting there, so they would have the signal to go through. And now with the new system, that 20 to 25 minutes is probably reduced to about 5.
CREATE will benefit the Amtrak system in quite a large manner. The Chicago terminal is the hub for Amtrak's operations throughout the West and the Midwest, and for services to the East Coast. It is a point of major congestion, and capacity issues exist throughout the Chicago area. The CREATE project investments will allow for additional capacity to be built into the rail system throughout Chicago, thus benefiting the Amtrak operations through reduction of delays and other conflicts.
One of the most significant grade separations is at 130th Street and Torrance Avenue on the southeast side of Chicago. This project actually involves 2 locations where Norfolk Southern Railroad tracks cross both Torrance Avenue and 130th Street. And it's right next to the Ford Motor Company vehicle assembly plant. It's a high traffic location. The crossings there delay a lot of traffic. And removing those crossings is going to be very good for the economy of that part of the city and the region overall. Another important example of a grade separation project is at Archer Avenue, where the Belt Railway of Chicago crosses. That's on the southwest side towards Midway Airport. At this location, there's heavy traffic. There's also a very busy bus route. The traffic and the buses and pedestrians also get delayed quite frequently by when the railroad trains block that crossing as they're going through. So creating a great separation there will have benefits both for motorists and other road users like the bus customers all up and down the number 62 route of 68. The viaduct improvement program is another important component, especially for the city of Chicago. As most Chicagoans know, there's a lot of railroads in Chicago were brought above the street level about 100 years ago, and a lot of the viaducts that were created at that time are now in need of repair. The city and the railroads are working together to improve a number of these viaducts as part of the CREATE program. So a big reason why the CREATE program is a public-private partnership is because the region as a whole benefits from being a hub for freight rail activity across the United States.
I'm Pat O'Brien. I'm the president of the Belt Railway Company of Chicago. As most of you know who are listening in on this, we're owned by the 6 Class 1s in North America. We are the busiest intermediate switching terminal in the country, handling on average right now approximately 2,500 cars every day in interchange, as well as 30 metros crossing us, as well as 4 Amtraks. It is a busy railroad. As part of the CREATE program, a new corridor will be created on the south side of Clearing Yard, which does not exist today. It will provide additional fluidity through the system. I believe it's 27 additional trains a day will be moving over that corridor.
All right, the amount of time is greatly improved. With hand-throw switches, the trains have to come to a complete stop. The people have to get off. Per switch, it could take up to 10 to 15 minutes additional time. With the automated switches, again, they can move through these areas at 30 miles an hour, non-stop. There's no stopping. So huge improvement per location. So if there's a train that has to perhaps throw 4 or 5 switches to clear its path, now that train can move through in one continuous motion, saving an hour, depending on the situation.
3 projects that I'm going to talk to you about. One is B6, B8, the other is B12. B6 gave us the opportunity to put double track connections from the IHB to the BN. In addition to that, we also increased from 10 miles an hour to 25, which was a great benefit to CSX and the IHB and the other carriers that traverse that area. In addition to that, we're looking at B8. B8 changed the signals and benefited us and took the signals to TCS, Traffic Control System. Now, extremely beneficial when it comes to moving trains. We increased the speed, we made it more efficient, so we did experience a lot of benefit from the B8 project. Now, the B12 project was a great one also. We increased and made a 3rd track from Francisco all the way to 123rd Street. In the process now of finishing up the project. Now, exciting because it's increased velocity and it has increased capacity. So therefore, we can get trains on and off the IHB a lot quicker and more efficiently.
CREATE is one of the most important initiatives to which the state of Illinois is committed for the next several years. And it's important in several ways. The first is the obvious of reducing freight bottlenecks that tie up freight trains in the Chicagoland and northeastern Illinois area for hours at a time. Secondly, though, and just as important, is freeing up rail infrastructure for better passenger rail service. We can reduce delays, make passenger rail more attractive, take cars off the road, reduce pollution, dependence on foreign oil, improve air quality. All of that is very important. Also, the attractiveness of Midwest exports, of nationwide exports, because CREATE, by freeing up rail infrastructure in the Chicagoland area, makes exports more attractive abroad because they get to their destinations more quickly, more efficiently, and more predictably. This is why the state is so invested in the CREATE program.
Through the projects that have been completed in the CREATE program, Metro is starting to see some of the benefits, but the truth of the matter is that in order for us to feel the full benefit of the program has to be completed.
We've gone a long way with what we've done so far in CREATE with the resources we've had, and the program is a 70-project program. We still need the additional funds to complete the program. If we're going to realize the full benefits, both public and private, of the CREATE program, we need to take it to completion.